Okay, good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And so this evening, we're going to talk about um, healthcare and mental health care availability at the universities. And so we're glad to have everybody with us. And so we'll get started right away so we get everybody in timely manner. First, we want to introduce Michelle Biggs from Marshall University, and she's going to speak to you guys about some of the different offerings and things that they have at Marshall. So let me get this screen sharing.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I am excited to be here and talk to families about how to help their students navigate the transition to college. I know it can be nerve-wracking for everybody involved. And so I just have 5 tips that can just help you all with the whole family, the student, navigate that college experience. So if we can move to the first slide. Am I navigating there? One second, please. Okay, great. Like my name is Michelle Biggs, and I am the director of the Herd Academy, and that oversees the dual enrollment at Marshall University. And I also have lots of experience of helping the family and students navigate that college experience. I'm working in student affairs and also just helping with that first year experience for our students. So we will go ahead and get started. And if you have questions, I'd love to answer any questions that you have, because I know sometimes there's just a lot of things going on, and ask away. So got 5 tips to go over with you, and I won't read everything on the screen, but the first one can be the toughest one for everybody involved, encouraging the independence, resilience, and problem solving. You've been one of their biggest advocates, helping them navigate their educational career as a family member. And so sometimes turning that over to the student can be a little nerve-wracking, but that is one of the first tips that I can give. I'm just teaching them some of those life skills, how to manage their time. Think of the students who have had that 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. schedule, and then they go to college and they think all this free time, and then they're like, oh, I don't really know how to navigate that time. So helping them navigate that time management is a crucial tip for success. And then also laundry, especially if you're sending your student to college. 1 minute, please. There's an announcement. Love the school system, always an announcement. But yeah, helping with some of those basic life skills, just so they're not always having to rely on you. That's one of the things I definitely taught my daughter when she was going to be a first-year student, was how to do laundry, how to budget, and definitely how to manage her time. And then also just to how to advocate for themselves. That is very tough, especially as a mom that was sending her child, even though it was just 15 minutes away to live on campus. I knew that she needed to have her own voice and start asking those questions for herself. And so sometimes I would be that nudge to push her to ask the questions. I knew the resources on campus, and that's something, a later tip, but knowing the resources so you can nudge the student in the right direction, and so they can ask the questions and start being their own advocate, because that'll be a skill that will help them through their whole life as a college student, and then like when they graduate and move on to their professional career. And then also just talking about new challenges. Moving into the fall semester will be a new challenge. That next year will be a new challenge. And so just talking to them and discussing it as a family and as a support system is the first tip that we have for you. Just the second one is kind of talking about expectations and responsibilities. Again, we've already talked a little bit about time management, but study practices. This is something that I had to really stress in my daughter, because it was a different environment for her. She was having to study in a different way. She was taking classes that were a little tougher for her, and maybe she never had to study as much. And so that first semester was a transition for her of having to use some of the resources. So talk again about time management, those study skills, but how to balance those things too, about personal responsibilities, a social life, because we want students to have those academics down, but also to get involved in all the things that campus has to offer. And so talking to them about how do you balance that? Because it's great, you know, going to class, doing all the things, but finding out activities, finding groups that they can get involved with, that makes it the kind of holistic college experience. But talk to them again about the challenges and check in. Check in with them regularly. Sometimes it's hard to not check in too much. I had to learn that balance when my daughter went to school of, yes, maybe I don't check in 5 times a day, just do it like in the middle of the day. So find out that time when you can check in and just see how students are doing with those new expectations and responsibilities. Tip number 3, I'm not going to talk too much about mental and physical well-being because you've got some experts here that are going to give you some great resources and things to know about helping your student. There's a little bit of an echo. We'll see. But we talked about time management, that stress management, self-care, how to take care of themselves. But then you're going to hear about the resources that campuses have to offer. And so using those resources, setting them up early, and getting those in place can help a student because, again, new stressors are going to come about that students maybe have never had before. And then sometimes they bury their head in the sand and then wait a little bit too long to use those resources. So I'm excited for you to hear from the experts that are going to talk about wellness and mental health. Because those are things that are crucial for student success. Tip number 4, you yourself as a family member know the resources on campus. Your student will more than likely be in some week of welcome, some new student orientations this summer, and then also in the fall. And so they're going to learn about resources, but as a family member, as a support system, knowing those resources, so then you can nudge your student. There's so many resources on campus. I've always said, especially at Marshall, there's no reason why a student can't succeed on campus because there's so many resources. Tutoring centers, their academic advisor is one of their best resources because they can go to them to ask questions for classes, but also ask questions about those resources. Career education, Centers for Student Success, the mental health resources that you're going to learn about in a few minutes, those are there for your students to succeed academically, socially, and then their overall wellness. And then the student organizations, clubs, extracurriculars, when I talked about those, about how that's just as important about getting involved on campus, we really mean it. That is a resource that can help with wellness and mental health, but it also just helps them feel like they're getting that full college experience. So think of the academic social organizations, the fun ones. I know at Marshall, there's about 200 organizations for anything that a student would want to get involved with. So the academic, I know we have a knitting club, and then there's also things that can get students connected just in a social environment. And my tip with the social resources would be just to encourage students to step outside of their comfort zone and go to a club meeting, talk to somebody that they've never, spoken to before, and get involved with that. And even if they go to that meeting and they're like, hey, this wasn't for me, that's okay. Try something else. So getting involved with that student activities, student involvement, so they can find those extracurriculars that is right for them, can again help with that holistic support. We've always talked about kind of making new friends, talking to people on campus, and that includes, like I said, the academic advisors, people in student activities, student affairs, students if you're living in the residence hall, talking to your RA to get that support system, because that with you as a support system is going to be the person that they can go to when they have questions about their school, academics, and then also other things on campus. But having those support systems will help them when little stumbling blocks come up. And last but not least, just celebrate things, celebrate the growth, celebrate the achievements, celebrate things that they are doing, and think of working with them on short-term and long-term goals. Sometimes students, they get stressed or they get overwhelmed because they're thinking of that end goal of graduating, but break it down each semester. What are some of their academic goals for short-term, some personal goals, and some of those personal goals could be related to the social activities, and then how do those lead into those long-term goals. And then celebrate the milestones about whether it's talking to somebody on campus, joining a club or organization. Maybe they were struggling with managing their time. And so they really kind of started getting into a great new habit. And so celebrate those things because sometimes students don't realize how big those short-term goals can lead to the long-term. And so you celebrating that as a support system can help with their overall wellness and mental health, but also with that the success in college. This one's hard, open-ended questions. I know sometimes I'll ask my daughter, how was your day? And she says, fine, great. I don't know. And so I have to even think, okay, how do I phrase it better so I can get more information? Because you might ask your student that, how is school going? It's going fine, but you sometimes have to dig a little bit deeper to find out how their classes are actually going, how their social activities are going. And that's when you can, by knowing the resources on and off campus, say, well, I've heard about the Student Success Center, or you seem a little stressed. Have you gone to the Wellness Center? And so that's when you can kind of push, your students into using the resources, because they're going to learn about them, like I said, in some type of Uni 100 or first year seminar or some type of week of welcome. But that is very overwhelming for many students. And so you knowing the resource can help them kind of navigate the things that they need. And then again, this one's tough, especially if you have an overachiever, just that they don't have to be perfect. That's just like progress, working towards things, trying new things is just as important as getting 105% on a test. And so just kind of celebrate the things that they're doing, and then also know when there are stumbling blocks, there are resources, there are supports. That's one of the great things about a college campus, like I said, is the resources and supports, and you as a support system, knowing them, I think can just help the overall experience. Because I always say when a student comes to campus, it's not just the student that we are helping the family through the whole process. And so just you just as a support system, find those offices on campus that you might have to reach out to ask questions, and then you can help your student navigate the process. But thank you for being here. Those are my top 5 tips to help your students succeed. And I am here to answer any questions. And like I said, my name is Michelle Biggs, work at Marshall University, and we would love to have your students. But if you have any questions, I'm here. Have a good night. You do this.
All right, so I'm Mallory Carpenter. I am the Assistant Director of West Virginia Gear Up. If you haven't already, if you are a student or a parent or a family member of a student, if you could drop your student's name in the chat along with what school they attend, that would be great. We are going to have our next presenter in just a second. We have Emily Park, who is the wellness coordinator for Marshall University. So she's going to come up and talk a little bit about that program.
Hi everyone, my name is Emily Park and I'm the new wellness coordinator here at Marshall University. A little bit about me, I'm an alumni of Marshall University. I have a bachelor's in health sciences and a master in public health. So at the end of my presentation, if you have any questions about healthcare or our programs, be free to ask. So some of our Marshall University wellness programs we have. The next slide. Oh. No. Got it. Okay. Sorry about that. So some of the importance of our wellness program. So here at Marshall, we're not just worried about, we also worried about your mental, but we also want your physical, emotional well-being, and as well as your mental health to be suffice as well. So all of our programs can lead to improved academic performance and also lower dropout rates and increases our student satisfaction as well. So a quick little overview of some of our programs at Marshall. At the Wellness Center, we have our MU Pause Therapy Dog program, we have our Mindful Mondays, and we also do a healthcare tabling events at the university. And we have also just implemented this new app called Better You, and I'll get into that in the next slides. So here at the Wellness Center, we have study spaces. We also have a meditation room as well. Free to come for all of our students. The meditation, rooms open from 8 a.m. to 4:30. Those are our office hours as well. We also have a study lounge and a lounging area. Our students like to come in the mornings. You can relax. It's a very quiet place, not crowded in the mornings. We actually have a free breakfast snack bar as well, and we have coffee as well for our students. We also have some therapy lamps as well. If you go into the meditation room, we have journaling. You can turn off the lights. You can meditate for an hour, however long you need to take. We also have yoga supplies in there as well. So you feel free to do yoga, de-stress, relax, and meditate as well. So we have implemented this newly at Marshall. This is called our Better You app. So if you go on your iPhone, and it should also be on Androids as well, the app is called Better You. So this is a Better You companion. So you guys can track activity tracking. It also is compliant with Apple Health as well as Google Fit. So if you have any watches, it's compliant with that. So it can track your steps, your heart rate, as well as your sleep tracking and your social connectivity. So it can sync with contacts in your phone. It also shows your progress for walking, your sleep tracking progress, and social connectivity as well. And there's also challenges you can do with your friends as well. I have a video here, but I'm not sure if it's gonna play. All right, so that was just a quick little overview of our app. And now on to some of our campus events. Our wellness center, we put together safety events for our students. We recently hosted a safer spring break event where we taught students how to be safe on spring break, how to not drive drunk, a bunch of safety tips that would keep you safe if you're going away or out of town on campus, as well as we also do a lot of healthcare events too. We do flu vaccinations as well with our nursing clinics. And we also do some free screening events as well for our students. So now on to our MU Pause program. So we have an MU Pause program that improves mental health by using our certified therapy dogs. And we have about 7 dogs in the program to provide emotional support for all of our students here at Marshall. And as well, these dogs help relieve stress and anxiety, especially when it comes to finals week. I know we all get stressed, and these dogs have been proven to really comfort our students and release some of that stress and anxiety about exams. And I'm going to have one of our team members from MU Pause talk a little bit more about their services.
So we are live, as you can see from Spring Valley, and so we have Howie in the room with us. So we have to show off Howie a little bit, so you all can see. Let's see. Oh goodness! Oh, it doesn't pick up Howie because he's not a human. Oh no! Let's see.
If you take off Mallory, if you take off the background, it should get him on there.
Let's see. Adjust background. There we go.
Oh.
Check out Howie. Look at this sweet baby. Oh. Do you want to talk a little bit about the MU Pause program and
Yeah.
what?
Yes, I will. Hi, my name's Casey Watson, and I am a part of the MU Pause program. This is Howie. We have been, Howie's been certified as a therapy dog going on 2 years this year. And I am currently a 4th year PsyD student, about to get my doctorate in the PsyD program at Marshall. The MU Pause program, one of the big things that we do is we get event requests from Marshall University, anything on campus, but we also get community requests for dogs to come out. Howie's done some things with the Head Start classrooms, some different community events. We go to like 9th Street Live in Huntington. and some different things we can do. One of our biggest initiatives that we have right now is called Paws in the Halls. And so there is a therapy dog assigned to every dorm building on campus. And for 1 hour a week, the dogs have what's known as PAWFIS hours. And that's where students can come take a break from studying, come hang out with the dogs, and just kind of relax when it comes to unwind and de-stress from exams or any homework and so forth. The event with Paws in the Halls actually stemmed from a study that our head Misty, who she created, MU Paws, did a study on the effects of therapy dogs with students on campus, and was found that actually if students had access to therapy dogs, that they were more willing to go and get mental health services. And so Howie enjoys going to campus with all the events and so forth. And so, but yeah, that's kind of what our program does. And so, Buzz, anything else you want me to add? Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Pop that back on. Can you get her slides? back?
Yep. All right. So we have recently also implemented our Marco's Meal Share. Marco's Meal Share, which is combating food insecurity. So actually West Virginia is scores of 47 out of 50 for food insecurity. So we've implemented this program for Marshall University. So students that have unused meal swipes, so when you do get into campus as a student, you get an amount of meal swipes. So if you do not use those swipes, you can actually donate your swipes to people in need who actually need meals. So our Marco's Meal Share, we will provide at least 10 free meals for our students if they're struggling with food insecurity or they just cannot afford to get food at home or going through a rough time. So we have implemented this program to help students in need who do face food insecurity. So our website, you can pull it up, and it is under Student Affairs at marshall.edu. And if you are in need, you can just go to the website. Right here is a picture. Sorry about that. Right here is a picture of what the site will look like. You can just hit request a meal and then put all your information, and we will provide you with at least 10 free meals. So talking about some of our student health services we offer at Marshall University, we also offer them at a discounted price as well. So we offer x-rays, labs, as well as specialist referrals as well. The center offers $5 prescriptions and discounted dental and vision care to ensure our students can access essential healthcare without financial burden. So in this little chart over on the side, I have some of the things that we do offer. So you have to be, for eligible for our health services, you have to be a full-time student, which is 6+ credits, and then you will get $20 fee per visit for part-time students, which are 1 to 5 credits. The location is on the first floor of our Marshall University Medical Center, and they will be open 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And you can also find this information at marshall.edu Student Health Services. We'll have all of that up there. You can also email them as well. We also do coverage if you have to get annual shots. So if you need to get allergy shots every few months or weeks, we will cover that and make sure that your medication can be delivered to you. So that is the end of our wellness programs. Are there any questions? Okay.
Right. There's lots of great resources at Marshall's Wellness Center. So it's definitely something that I think a lot of students like to take advantage of. Next up, we are going to hear from representatives from Marshall's Counseling Center. And so we'll get their slides up and we'll have them come up and talk a little bit about what they offer.
Hello, my name's Amy Kennedy Rickman, and I am actually the new director of the Counseling Center at Marshall University. I've been in the behavioral health field for over 20 years now. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by the technology. Sorry, the mouse has disappeared. Oh, okay. So I'm working on it. The mouse has disappeared, so. See it? What am I doing? No, don't. Either. Something. Okay. Oh, it's up there. Yeah, okay. What's Lori? What's it doing? The mouse is up there with the little arrow, but
We're getting it figured out.
yeah.
The fun of technology.
Yeah.
There you go.
Kind of. But it won't. Maybe.
I think you have to hit stop share. I don't think you're sharing the right thing.
You are.
Sorry.
It's not cooperating at all. See, and right now a good exercise under this stress could be some deep breathing
deep
that no
breathing.
one would even recognize.
That's right.
And it would help alleviate some stress. What was the name? MUCC. Yeah.
There you go. I got a present for you.
I think hit slideshow. Oh, here we go.
And then from here.
Okay.
There we go. We got it.
All right. So the Marshall University Counseling Center, we are right on campus, sort of out of the middle of everything. So it's not really noticeable if you're coming in to see us. And I'm not going to read these slides. I put a lot of information in here, and this PowerPoint can be shared out with you all if you would like all of the information. So our scope of practice, we are there to serve students who may have mental health or other just college-related issues that they want to see a licensed or professional counselor about. So it's really easy to get in with us. They can actually do all their paperwork online. They can find us at Marshall University Counseling Center. We have our own website, and the paperwork is available through there, through links, as well as scheduling appointments, actually. And then on this slide is the information to reach myself or the counseling center if you all would have any questions about what we do. Services that we provide, students are eligible for up to 10 sessions a semester. This is included in their tuition. So we do not bill insurance. We do not charge any kind of fee for this service. And we do short-term counseling sessions. So we are going to see students for things like anxiety, depression, anger management. The kind of diagnoses that may require more intensive services, we will assist the student in getting services out in the community. We do group therapy, support groups, workshops, and we also work closely with Marshall Psychiatric Services. So if students are seeing us and participating in therapy, then if medication is needed, we can get them in with our psychiatrists and have a good working relationship between the therapist, the case manager, and the doctor. We have walk-in hours 5 days a week. So if a student is just having a bad day, they can pop in and see us and we can, help talk through that situation. We also offer 24/7 emergency crisis coverage. So we have the emergency and we have MUPD's number here. So if it's some kind of emergency you'd need the police for, you would call them. We have 24/7 crisis coverage. So if a student needs to speak to a counselor after hours, then we have that availability. We actually utilize a service for that. And then if something is emergent, then they will reach out to someone on our team and we will get involved if we need to. We have one counselor in residence, and he works in a few of the residence halls. So he has evening hours that he offers. And then we have some limited case management services, and we do a lot of outreach and consultation, helping not only students understand what we do, as well as parents, but student groups, faculty, and staff. We want to make everyone aware of mental health issues and how we can help and kind of be a treatment team for that student if they are struggling. The things that we do not do at the counseling center, any kind of testing or evaluation for anything, disability claims, custody, we don't do psychological testing. There are other departments on campus who can do some of these things, but typically the services for the students are going to be more related to their education, academic, and personal success. We do not do family therapy, but we do provide couples counseling if that is needed. We don't do any kind of court-ordered services, any kind of detox or rehab. Those are more intensive things that would need to be done with a community provider. And again, if someone were in that situation, we would definitely help link them to a provider that could help them. Who is eligible for services? Any Marshall student who lives in the state of West Virginia. Online school is a big deal now. And we are not allowed to see students who are not in the state with us. That is something that's regulated by our licensure boards. And when students go out of state home for maybe the summer or breaks, we cannot do services with them at that time, but we do help them find a resource that's close to where they live or a few resources that they can reach out. Walk-ins. It's really easy to make an appointment with us. And again, we have our walk-in hours Monday through Friday. These are our office hours. We're open 8 to 4:30 for sessions. And we do in-person sessions, but we also do telehealth sessions. So it's kind of at the convenience of what the student needs from us, as well as if the counselor is in the office that day or they have a work from home day. Emergency and crisis counseling. Again, this is 24/7. If someone is in crisis while the center is open, we've had professors or friends bring students into us, and we have addressed that and worked with them and helped them get whatever they needed. And then after hours, we have the on-call crisis counselors. we do like to remind people if it's a medical emergency, definitely call 911, not our crisis line. None of us are medical professionals. And then just more about the walk-ins. They're first come, first serve. We need the paperwork filled out first. And that again is a quick click on our website, really easy to access. And just some additional information that I think I already covered. The counseling services, again, are free for Marshall students. Confidentiality is a big deal to our students, and what they do with us is covered under privacy rights. Of course, unless they're a danger to themselves or someone else, then we are going to reach out to get the appropriate care. And we also work with a team within campus that has MUPD and others from student affairs and some academic folks. We work as a team, so if a student is in crisis, we can make sure they're getting everything they need and that their education isn't jeopardized because of that. And our contact information is on here. And then I do have a little bit, I had an update to this PowerPoint, but it didn't make it here. We also have a division within our counseling center that is specifically for student athletes. So if any of your kids are in sports and you're looking at Marshall's program, we have a team of 3 people, 2 therapists and a case manager who are actually stationed in the Henderson Center. So it's easy access for the athletes, and they have specialized training to work with students on performance issues, of course, all the basic mental health things. But we know that student athletes have a different kind of pressure than maybe our general population does. And they do a lot of things in working with our coaches and the athletic trainers. So it really is a team effort to ensure that the mental well-being for our student athletes is covered. And they do some therapy groups that are specific for our athletes, helping them identify who they are outside of athletics. And then we have a special group that works with athletes if they're injured and can't play for a time being. I believe they have a specialized program that offers some telehealth as well and different behavioral care aspects, and that is available to our student athletes through the athletics division. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything. And then, so that's pretty much it for that. But I've really been trying to let parents and students know, because we don't bill, that gives us leeway to really work with students on some other things that aren't necessarily a big diagnosis. But, you know, college students moving away from home for the first time. I think Michelle was kind of talking about how, you know, intimidating that can be, and a little bit for the parent and for the young adult. So we can work with students on just stress management, time management. If they have a bad day, they can come in and talk to us and just kind of bounce ideas off of a professional counselor. So we can do a lot more with them to help them achieve the ultimate goal of, you know, getting to graduation. So it's a lot more than just mental health that we can assist with. And we work closely with all the support services on campus. So if students need something different besides counseling, we have a case management team that can actually help work with those other departments to make sure we're covering all of the bases. And again, we can share this PowerPoint. I will send the correct one out so you guys will have all of the accurate information. I think that's it.
Okay. So that is all of our presenters for this evening. If you have any questions that you have for them, please drop them in the chat real quick. If you haven't already put your student's name in the chat and their school, please do that too before you head out. I want to take a minute and thank all the folks from Marshall who came on a Tuesday evening out to Spring Valley to talk about their services and the great things that Marshall has to offer students. So let me make sure real quick. Do we have any questions? I do not see any. We have shared this out live on our Facebook page as well. So if you have any questions that come up later, feel free to post them there on West Virginia Gear Up on Facebook, and I can make sure that they get back to the presenter and we get you an answer. Otherwise, thank you all so much for coming, and I hope you found this event helpful. Have a good evening.